So we talked about previously this very bizarre effort by Trump allies to go into a Georgia election office, and one of the election officials who was pro-Trump helped them throughout that process, helped them get in. And this so happened to be the same day as these Trump allies got access to a voting location, was the same day that a voting system was breached. Of course, we understand likely that's exactly what it was. Well, now we had footage of them walking in. Now we have footage of these people in the election office, getting a computer next to a voting system and doing something. So as I've repeated before, they got more intimate, close, unrestricted access, possibly illegally, than anyone else or than anyone else who isn't an actual official. And yet they still couldn't provide evidence of voter fraud. Guys, if you are someone who thinks the election was stolen, they got to go hook up a computer to a voting system, do whatever the heck they were trying to do, look through the data. They had an election official helping them through this process, and they still couldn't provide evidence of this widespread voter fraud that they kept claiming. So we'll look at the footage, but quickly to read about it. Newly obtained surveillance video shows for the first time what happened inside a Georgia county elections office the day its voting systems are known to have been breached on January 7th, 2021. A Republican county official in Georgia and operatives working with an attorney for former President Donald Trump spent hours inside a restricted area of the Coffee County elections office that day. Among those seen in the footage is Kathy Latham, a former GOP chairwoman of Coffee County who is under criminal investigation for posing as a fake elector. So we talked about this, and we'll continue reading in a second, but this Latham, Kathy Latham person was election official, so she had access and was able to give it to these Trump allies who were working with an attorney for Trump. And she was also caught up in the scheme to pretend to be the proper elector who's actually, casting their vote for Trump, even though Georgia went for Biden in an attempt to overturn the 2020 election. So she's being investigated for that. And this is going to be added on to it, I'm sure. CNN previously reported that Latham escorted operatives working with former Trump lawyer Sidney Powell through the front door of the elections office on January 7, 2021. The new footage appears to undercut previous claims by Latham that she was not personally involved in the breach. The new video, obtained as part of a years-long civil lawsuit in Georgia related to the security of voting systems there, shows Latham remain in the office for hours as those same operatives set up computers near election equipment and appear to access voting data. And then here is that security footage within a CNN report of this.
And operatives working with an attorney for former President Trump, spending hours inside the restricted area.
So for our podcast listeners, because he's talking over it, hopefully it's more interesting for you. And it's not just me playing a raw surveillance footage, but you can just see to describe for you, there's a dog, that's funny, a bunch of people standing around in this elections office, seeming to work in some way to do something.
Of a Georgia elections office. This was the same day that a voting system there was breached. CNN's Drew Griffin has been covering this story for some time now and joins us with the very latest on this. Drew.
Pretty much confirmation here, John. This all happened on January 7th, 2021, one day after the Capitol insurrection. But it's what it could mean for the future of voting that experts are so concerned about.
The newly obtained surveillance video shows a Republican county official and a team of operatives working for Trump attorney Sidney Powell inside a restricted area of the local elections office in Coffee County, Georgia. Among those seen, Kathy Latham, a former GOP chairwoman of Coffee County, who is under criminal investigation for posing as a fake elector in 2020. Latham previously claimed she was not personally involved in the breach, but the video appears to undercut that claim, showing her inside as a team of Republican operatives work on computers near election equipment and proceed to access voting data.
Okay, so you can't just have random Joe Schmoes, especially not individuals associated with the candidate themselves, going in and accessing all of this data. Now, whenever you do official recounts, you can go through voting data. Whenever you do any sort of, investigation, okay. But just an election official official allowing Trump allies to go in and access voting data, that is a huge violation. And again, it's the same day that this voting system was already previously known to have been breached. And so it's, pretty secured there that that's what they were doing. And that's what that breach was about. So again, I'll say, if they had all this access and they can't prove that it was stolen, holy smokes. And of course, we know that to be true already, but another verification of it. But then also just the scary moment we're in where lines are being crossed that haven't been crossed before. People feel justified to do things that previously would have been unheard of. And they very avidly and aggressively were trying to do anything possible to keep Trump in power, even breaking laws to get access to voting information. So it's a scary time that we're in, wild that this is all coming out, and we will continue to follow it very closely.